To create the first design, you'll first need the Ellis Island die to make the outline. Here I'm using tweezers to get it out. There it is. Next, you will need the 3x3 corner die to cut out a different piece of paper for the background. Use the 3x3 corner tile die again to cut a different piece of paper. After you add glue to the corners, stick them right on the grid paper, as shown here. This will be your background piece for the Ellis Island die cut. Add glue to the back of the Ellis Island die cut. The line on the Ellis Island die will cover up the line in between the two corners. To finish, you can add an embellishment to cover up the center. The finished layout looks so much fun with this design. For the second design, I'm using a piece of patterned paper to make the outline with the Ellis Island die. I'm going to use the die again to cut a piece of patterned paper. After I roll it through the machine, I'm going to take out every other triangle so the design will look correct when I put it on the grid paper. I am going to do the same thing again with this piece of patterned paper. This time I'll just take out every other triangle opposite of what I did before. For this design, I'm going to lay the Ellis Island die on the grid paper first. It lines up perfectly. After gluing the back of each piece, I'm going to place the triangles within the Ellis Island cut. Each color will fit in every other triangle, giving the design a bolder look. I love the bold look on this finished layout. Now I'm going to show you how to create this awesome kaleidoscope look. To begin, I am cutting some cardstock with the Ellis Island die. I will be doing this 4 times. Next, I glued the back of each piece, and now I'm going to put it on the grid paper so it'll form one large square. I'm using the Ellis Island die again to cut my main photo. This will be the centerpiece. Okay, so now you'll really want to pay attention to this part. I left the photos on the die just because they don't stick together and I didn't want my pieces to get scattered. So now I'm going to use the photos to fill in the exact center of my design, and I'm starting with the bottom right. And now I'm going to fill in the top right. I decided to put glue inside it to make it easier rather than sticking on the triangles. So basically you're going to form the photo in the same way you cut it within the die. So now the top left part of the die is going to be put in the top left part of the square. And I'm going to fill in the bottom left portion with the bottom left of the die. This is how the first part should look. For the second part, I'm going to cut another photo with the Ellis Island die again. This time I decided to use a more decorative photo like flowers. Now I'm going to fill in this outer part with the photo. So first I glued in, notice how the triangles are pointed down to the bottom right. So I grab, like I'm doing now, I grab the 2 triangles that were also pointed the same direction on the die. I'm going to do the same thing, now they're pointing to the top right. So I grab those dies again that were also pointing in the same direction. And you're going to do that all the way around. So now they're pointing top left, to the left anyway. So I grab the 2 triangles pointing in the same direction. And again, so basically you just want to make sure you're putting them in the same direction as the design. For the last part, you're going to need 2 photos if you're using the 4x6 size, or you could use one 5x7. Basically here I use the same photo, but you can use 2 different photos as well. Now I'm going to fill in the rest of the design. First, I am going to fill the top left and bottom right corners with my first photo. Look carefully as I fill in each piece. Notice that I'm using the top left part of the Ellis Island die to fill in this top left space. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom right. I'm going to use the bottom right half of the Ellis Island die to fill in that space. basically going to do the same thing again over here, except fill the bottom left and the top right. So you can watch me do it really quick here. Notice I'm using the bottom left half of the Ellis Island die to fill in the bottom half, or the bottom left of the final design. Now I'm almost done. Now I'm getting to the top right. It always feels good when a page gets completed. And there you go. Now it's all finished. I love this kaleidoscope look. It's fabulous. Thanks for watching, and see more on mosaicmoments.com.